concise and efficient in performance.
I want my title next.
Kayla Harrison.
Welcome to UFC Unfiltered. Please tell me that's on video. I've never been happier. I'm made for a fucking podcast. We're dangerous. Listen to me, we're at it. Welcome to UFC Unfiltered. Today, Matt Serra and I will be joined by Kayla Harrison.
Yay!
What a tremendous first fight she had against Holly on 300. And I mean, I'm looking forward to talking to her. I know you're a big fan. We also have Shay Durena, too, who's a comedian from British Columbia, Canada. He's really huge on Instagram, and he's a very unique guy.
Just like you. Very
unique.
unique.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's only one Jimmy.
Well, yeah, luckily. One little creepy Jimmy. So they'll let us know when Kayla gets...
She's here now.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to just, I guess we could just bring her in. We really don't need to introduce her. I mean, everyone knows who she is. And it's weird to see Holly get so dominated. Like, we've seen Holly lose a fight before, but to see her so dominated is strange.
Yes, let's clap. Let's clap.
Hello.
Let's clap for Kayla. Kayla, we are so excited to get to know you. And first of all, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I feel like I already know. Well, I feel like I know a younger version of you because
thank you for that. I'm about to be 50,
Oh, sorry.
Kayla. Thanks for the groin shot right off the bat. I appreciate it. Ray Longo could not say enough about you.
Ray,
not even about the fighting, about your personality.
I'm in love with Ray. I was flirting with him a little bit on the bus ride. You know, just
flirting
kind of
with old blue eyes.
Yeah, I called him Baby Blue. Yeah,
he said that. He goes, Matt, oh, you love her. Your personality, this girl. Longo, you put a spell on Longo. Longo loves your personality. He goes, oh, man. He goes, she's right up our alley. You'd love her. You guys are definitely right up my alley. Because I grew up in Boston, and I think it's very similar, like the shit talking, the camaraderie, just like I call them massholes. So I don't know what your nickname is, but
it's such a great place, Boston, and there really is a beautiful underlying anger in every inch of Boston.
Yeah, there's
underlying rage.
Like, hey, fuck you, Yankees suck. Like just like a little bit everywhere you go.
Yes. When did you leave Boston?
I moved down to Florida in 2018. So yeah, I was there for like 12 years.
Oh, okay. What was it, to compete? You moved to compete?
Yeah, I moved to Boston when I was 16 to train for the Olympics.
Now, Jimmy,
yes.
You want to go or you want to go?
Yeah, I was going to ask because what is that process like when you arrive there? I mean, it's such a high stakes thing, and people work for so many years to get a shot. What is it like when you get there, and what type of expectations do you have on yourself, and what's like the psychology of being in this place with all of these other athletes?
In Boston?
No, the Olympics.
Oh, Olympics. Yeah, man, it was such an amazing experience for me. So my story is, a little different. I obviously, I was sexually abused by my first judo coach. And so when I moved to Boston, to say I was at rock bottom was kind of like, it just doesn't do it justice. I was a car wreck of a human being. And it took a very long time for me to kind of come out of that rock bottom. And through judo, through my coaches, the Pedros, through training, competing, being surrounded by people who loved me, having a sense of community and a purpose, that saved my life. The Pedros, they saved my life. And the Olympics, walking into the Olympics at 22, walking in the opening ceremonies with my best friend, feeling the heat of the flame from the Olympic torch on my face. Like, it kind of just symbolized everything that I had been through and everything I had overcome. And it was one of the greatest moments in my life. I wasn't even thinking about other athletes. Like, I know you said, oh, what's that like? But I was like in my own little world, just like this bubble of calm, cool, collected peace. Just like, I just knew I was right where I was supposed to be doing it. Like, I was living out my purpose.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, how not to bring up that horrible situation, how old were you when that judo coach took advantage of you?
So so the grooming began when I started judo when I was 6, and then when I was 8, I moved to a more competitive club. And so from the ages of 8 to 16, I was sexually abused by that coach. So 8 years. Yeah.
Does it make it, when something like that happens, does it make it hard? Because judo and any type of martial arts, there's so much physical contact and so much touch. Does it change the way you view that? Does it make it feel like something else? Like, and how do you make that okay in competition when it was so awful when that person was doing that and you still had to train with them?
I mean, I think that it's such a weird thing because judo was my escape, but it was also my prison. So I had a very weird relationship with judo. And it wasn't until I retired that I realized I never loved judo. I just loved winning.
Yeah.
But I think that because of like, you understand martial arts, you have to be so present. You have to be so in your body. Like, if you're not focused on what's happening, you're going to lose, or you're going to get thrown or armbarred or choked or kicked in the head. Like, something's going to happen. So for me, it was almost a practice of meditation. And it was the thing I could do where, like, especially after the abuse ended, it was a thing I could do where, like, I didn't have to think about, everything that had happened. I just focused on the person in front of me.
Now, when did you decide to try MMA? Now, because you already a judoka, and I like saying judoka. Anytime I get a chance to do judoka, I do it. But it sounds cool. So, judoka. When did you want to try? When did you say, all right, I want to fight in a cage?
Yeah, it was after my second Olympics, 2016. I spent like 6 months on the couch, like, being the complete opposite of who I had always been. Like, I went from setting an alarm every day and never hitting snooze to, like, not setting an alarm at all, like, not getting out of my pajamas. I had never seen anything on Netflix to, like, having seen the entire Netflix collection in a matter of months. Like, I was like the epitome of a couch potato, and I was depressed. I had a little bit of that post-Olympic depression where it was like, I had one goal my whole life, and now who the fuck am I, and what the fuck do I do with it?
What are you moving towards?
Exactly. Who is Kayla Harrison if she's not Olympic champion? So I went to a striking class. Someone was like, "Oh, you should try Muay Thai, like, just to work out." And so I went to, actually, I'm sure you know Mark De La Grati in Tom. So I went there and I did like a little pad session, and I really liked it. I was a fat slob at that point. Like, I had not trained. I hadn't been on the mats. I hadn't done anything. So I was like out of breath in like 10 minutes. And you know how stiff you are when you don't know how to punch, and you're just like, ah. And I kept going. And about a month after, I went to my first sparring session, and this like little petite thing, like, fucking front kicked me right to the face, and that was it. I was like, oh, I got to do this. I'm gonna fight. That's it.
Did you like it, or did it piss you off so much? Oh, you did. Okay.
I loved it. I just loved the aspect of being a beginner again.
Yeah.
And like, because I spent 20 years of my life. I mean, I'm very much a master of the basics. Especially like in judo, I feel like in MMA, I pride myself on the foundation. Like, the basics are kind of who I am. And so everything that I won in judo, I learned in the first 6 months. So I spent 20 years doing the same thing over and over and over, perfecting it over and over and over again, adapting it, changing it a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. So I just love the idea of being a white belt all over again and trying to find a way to implement my game plan against people who knew so much more than me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm a fundamentals freak. I'm right there. I love the fundamentals.
Yeah. See, I knew. I knew. I know.
100%.
When you were done with the Olympics, because you kind of touched on it, what I wanted to ask you too is like, because you went into MMA, but a lot of athletes, like, what do they do? Once they hit that, like, if you're not like Mary Lou Retton or somebody who's on the, you know, the Wheaties box, what's the next step? Is it coaching? Is it a lot of frustration, or what do most of these people do?
Well, I think for the most part, a lot of sports, because in the United States, like, well, it depends on what country you're from, first of all. Like, if you're an Olympian from Russia and you win a medal, they give you like $1 million, a house, a car, and, you know,
You're
like,
set,
oh,
yeah.
But in the United States, the Olympics is not a government funded program. So it's all sponsors. And I think the majority of athletes go to college. I didn't go to college. So judo's not a college sport. It's not, you know, NCAA or anything like that. So I really had no idea what I was going to do. Some of my friends had gone to college, like my best friend, Marty. You know, she has her master's in marketing, and she actually now works for the LA 2028 games. Like, she went to school and she pursued judo at the same time, but I was kind of all in, and that left me probably a little bit behind the curve, behind the wave after when I was retired from the Olympics.
Jimmy,
Yes, sir.
I want to bring up Kayla's UFC debut because let me tell you right now, my bad. I saw the way Holly Holm handled some other girls with a grappling background, the way she handled Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. And then either Misha Tate caught her, but up until then, she was doing well. So Kayla, I was a little familiar with you. I seen some glimpses, but to be all honest, I haven't seen as much as I should have. Listen,
that's all right.
I'm coming clean. I picked against you. I thought.
No, it's okay. I kept
almost awful.
I know everyone who picked against me.
Listen, I can't just sit here.
You didn't know what you didn't know, you know?
What?
I'm going to give you one free pass.
No, I'll take it. Listen, what an amazing debut. There was no UFC. Was there any jitters from going from the other organization to the UFC? Was there any first? Because it didn't look like it.
Or does the Olympics prepare you for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough because, first of all, like, I fucking love the UFC. I'm a company girl now through and through, you know?
Very good.
The level of professionalism, the level of excitement, the energy, like everyone, the employees' enthusiasm, their kindness. Like, I was just like, hell yeah. Like, you know, I was cutting a bunch of weight. So I was kind of just riding that like energy high all week. And it felt a lot like the Olympics, not as big because it was one sport and, you know, the Olympics is 10,000 athletes.
Yeah.
But it felt very similar. Like, oh shit, here I am. This is like what I've been training my whole life for. Every single part of my story led me to this moment. And when I stepped in the cage, man, like, it was just like, again, calm, cool, collected, like very zen, very like, yeah, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
And I think in PFL, you can't use elbows, right? Like, you seem to really be enjoying using your elbows.
Yes. I think it's like such a huge part of the game, especially for someone who's so top heavy like myself. You know, like my ground and pound is probably one of the things I'm known for, and I couldn't even use elbows for 16 fights or 17 fights. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the whole process. I was super pumped to fight Holly. Not that, listen, like, I fought a lot of tough fighters, but I think it had been a while since I had been excited to fight. Like, I don't really fight for money. I don't like, I wanted a challenge, and moving promotions, fighting for the UFC, moving down 20 pounds, fighting a legend of the sport. Like, I haven't weighed 135 pounds since I was 16 years old. So I couldn't be more all in, like this was me like, okay, I'm putting all my chips on the table. Like, let's fucking go.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say how people were worried about your weight cutting for this.
Me too.
Like, oh, she's strong, man. I don't see much fat there. I mean, what are they doing there? They have to get rid of some muscle. I mean, how hard was that weight cut? Was it absolutely brutal? Was it better than you thought?
I mean, it was intense. It was like a 12-week process, and I was really disciplined. I have a great team around me, my nutritionist, my chef, like my weight cuts, but like everybody like worked together, and I followed the plan, like adding in, walking 6 miles a day or swimming or biking and doing the long, boring cardio and slowly bringing down my calories and doing the sauna sessions, 3 times a week to acclimate my body. Like, I just was like very disciplined, and it was the most disciplined I've ever had to be. And it actually made me more violent. Like, it made me more, do you know what I'm talking about? Where you're just like, dude, like, you're not gonna like, I'm gonna fucking kill somebody, like, I'm gonna kill somebody and then I'm gonna go eat a fucking burger. That's what I'm gonna do.
There's something about those long, about cutting that weight where you have to get to a certain weight where it's a necessity. You need those long, low intensity, like you said, walking 6 miles. You need that long, low intensity. Getting that road work in. I used to get to 155. I used to have to start the day every day. Besides my workouts, I used to have to start with a 45-minute to an hour low intensity. I should feel like I could do it again. Jog in the morning just to get that metabolism going. And it was like, if I was fighting 170, I didn't need to do that. You know what I mean?
No, I literally would never. Yeah, same. I never really cut weight. I just don't believe in it. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's not something that I want to teach, I want to teach my daughter or young fighters coming up.
Yeah.
And so, it was a big lifestyle change for me. And it really like I said, it made me very, like, I spent a lot of time alone this camp. Like, fighting is a very lonely sport. And very like, you're sitting in a sauna alone, you're going for a walk alone, you're swimming in the pool alone, you're riding the bike alone, like, and it's just you and your thoughts. And for me, it's like, it just became me and God kind of, like I was just very like in line and like in my purpose. And it was great.
Are you a music person when you work out, or like, do you prefer just to, like when I drive, I used to listen to talk radio or weird shit and not music. Do you like listening to music, or would you prefer just to think?
Sometimes I listen to music, and sometimes I just, it just depends on what the mood is. Like, if I'm in a good mood and I had a great sparring session, then I might be rocking out. And if I didn't, then I might be punishing myself by sitting in silence.
100%.
And we'd like to ask you too about Fearless Foundation, your foundation, which I think is great that you started that, because it's also something that you can carry for many, many years and work with for a long, long time and continue helping people. When did you start that? And I think that 10 years, he got 10 years in jail, this guy. How did that feel? Did you feel like that wasn't enough, or did it feel like at least that was some kind of closure, or no?
I mean, well, when that all, I was very young still when like the FBI got involved. He served 10 years in federal prison. He pled guilty. And that was really mostly my, I was still a car wreck at that point. Looking back now, I'm grateful that, there was justice, and like, I'm not a judge. I'm not God. I can't decide what's the right punishment or not, but like, I'll never have my childhood back. Like, that will never be a thing for me. I'll never be the same again. And that's what happens to victims of sexual abuse. They're never the same again because of that trauma. And so my goal with the foundation is really to help them through that, to help parents through that, to be a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, Fearless is all about like helping kids become not victims, and not survivors, but thrivers. And we have a book. I have a book that I wrote with 2 psychiatrists from McLean Hospital called Fighting Back. And it uses my story sort of as a guideline. Like I kept journals the entire time. So it has my journal entries from the time I was, 9 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old. And it has also the experts like kind of breakdown of like, this is what grooming looks like. This is why kids don't say anything. This is how these are signs to look for. These are ways you can approach your children. Like just kind of, it's not a textbook and it's not a memoir. It's kind of like a combination of both. And anyone who has kids or is around kids or knows people with kids, like they should read it and they should learn about the signs, because it's still very prevalent in our society. And I think that by educating ourselves and by starting to have a conversation, we can start to reduce the number. And hopefully, I have a very good story. I'm one of the lucky ones who went on to have a good life. But, the majority of kids who suffer from sexual abuse don't go on to have a good life.
What's a sign? What's something parents can look for that, like that on the surface, they may not know? If they didn't know what it was, they wouldn't know to look for it.
I mean, I think the number one thing is like, listen, these aren't people in trench coats who like drive white vans and like offer your kid candy. These are everyday people, usually very, predators are charming and charismatic, and they groom not just children, but families. So not like that you need to be head on a swivel, because you have to live your life and you have to trust people. But I think about it this way, right? Like, you would not give you the keys. Like, you wouldn't just like walk up to some guy and give the keys to your car to him and say, all right, take it for a spin,
Right.
Bring it back safe. So like, why would you ever leave your child with someone you don't know, unsupervised, and say, hey, make them the next Tiger Woods, make them the next whatever, Holly Holm? Like, you wouldn't. Like, don't do that. Don't trust people that much,
Listen, I got 3 daughters. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. And also put them in martial arts. Teach them how to whoop somebody's ass.
Oh, my daughter just had a match the other day, 15 years old, and it was a super fight versus another teenager at an MMA event in a cage. It was so, it lifted her. You would have liked it. It was like a young Kayla Harrison.
Oh, you gotta send it to me. I want to see.
She won. Awesome. Yeah, I'll show you a clip. It was so great. But I was so happy about it. I'm so proud. Kayla, when you're not fighting, okay, I want to know what are you streaming? Are you reading books? What series you're watching? Some movies you like? Tell us what are you watching? Tell us, please.
I'm a single mom of 2 kids. I'm not
busy.
There's not like a lot of.
Put them to sleep. You have to watch this. Is it Shogun? Is it the latest?
I don't watch TV.
Nothing.
I don't really watch. I haven't turned my TV on in my room, and I mean, it's probably got dust on it at this point. The fight week, I started to watch that show Peaky Blinders, just because I was like starving and I had nothing to do, and so. But I don't really watch a ton of TV. I have 2 acres down here in Florida. Ooh. I have like 30 chickens, emus, quail, rabbits, dogs, bird, like a bunch of animals. So, and I have a little garden, and I like to be outside. I live in the summer, so we spend a lot of time outside. And when I'm not fighting, I'm with my kids.
That's more healthy than binging Netflix. That's way more healthy. That's better, Kayla.
I stay busy. Like, I have little book clubs sometimes, or Bible studies, or
book clubs. I want to know what goes on in a book club. You're just talking about a book?
Can't talk about book club.
Oh no! The first rule of book club is you don't talk about it. Is that what goes?
The first rule of book club is never go to one.
Most of the women just sit there and talk shit about their husbands. So I'm kidding.
That's hysterical.
You did do, though, an episode of Impractical Jokers.
I knew this was going to get brought up. I knew it.
I have to ask.
I knew it.
I like those guys a lot.
Yeah, you guys are in the age group. Any male from 12 to like whatever dead has seen Impractical Jokers. They love
It's crazy. Dude, they have a whole network. Like they literally would just run them in 24-hour cycles, repeating, because those episodes are kind of timeless. So yeah, those guys got a tremendous amount. What happened? It was 2017.
Yeah, they reached out to my assistant and she was like, oh, I had never heard of the show. And she was like, dude, you have to do this. My kids are obsessed.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. So we went to some party in, I don't know, the Hamptons or something. Some guy owned a house and the guy who owned the house was in on it, but nobody else at the party was in on it. And I just like, literally they were like, just beat the shit out of him. And I was like, okay.
Not many notes. That's funny.
Yeah, no, that was literally it. There was no practicing. There was no like, he didn't know what was going to happen to him. They didn't really know me. They just like someone, probably a producer or something, found me online, and it was fun. They'd offered me, like, they wanted me to be in the movie. They wanted me to come back. They were like, "Do you need a job?" And I was like, "Well, you know."
You didn't do it.
I'm set, but thank you.
Well, let me ask you, where did they put the cameras? Like, were they all like hidden cameras, or was the party being filmed just because it was a bunch of people?
No, they were hidden cameras.
They were hidden cameras.
Stuff, yeah.
Wow, you turned it down. You're like, no, I'm good here. I mean, you have a career. It's a very busy.
They wanted me to be in the movie, and they were like begging, but it was my MMA debut. I was like, I can't do it, boys. Like,
good.
I got a dream.
Yeah. Because the movie comes and goes, but I mean, you if you got to fight, you have to, you got to fight.
Yeah.
You remember Ronda Rousey, the rumors of Roadhouse, and then just shit fell apart. You're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Forget about that. I want to know when you're fighting again. I can't wait.
Me neither. I actually, so I had hand surgery like 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, okay.
I hurt my hand before my fight. So I tore a ligament before the fight, and it needed to be repaired. So I got that cleaned up, and I'll be back on the mat. I'm getting the stitches out today, actually, after I get off the phone with y'all. And I've been like doing kicks, throwing kicks, working on my jab, stuff like that, but I'll be back soon.
Well, look, it was good talking to you. Congratulations. I mean, what an amazing UFC debut on a huge stage against, Holly, a former champion, like you said, a legend of the sport.
Couldn't ask for better. You couldn't ask for a better debut. You probably made so many new fans, these two guys included.
Yeah.
I love that.
Will you give Ray a kiss for me?
No.
I'm not kissing. I refuse to kiss him. But I'll tell him that I'll forward that message for you.
Yeah.
I refuse that. That young man it was his birthday 2 days ago. He's going to hate me for this. He just turned 66. I don't want to, it almost feels weird saying it.
No, I know we were talking about it. I thought he was 46. I was like, Ray, tell me about the
No wonder why he loves you. I'll tell you, no wonder why you put him under a spell.
What's your diet? Tell me what your workout routine is, Ray, because I got to get on that. You are looking good.
I want to see the blue guy, the blue up, Mr. Blue Eyes blush is what I want to see.
Oh, he was blushing. I think I made him blush a little bit. He was like, Kayla. With this like jacket, he was like, Kayla, like, what are you doing?
That is phenomenal. Hey, listen, it was so nice to meet you.
Yeah, can't wait to see you fight again.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited. You're going to be talking to the bantamweight champion of the world pretty soon. So
yeah, I have a feeling you're right. I can't wait till you get that shot, and hopefully very soon.
Thank you.
Don't forget about it. You're champ, Kayla. Please, we're gonna try to get you back.
I'm not gonna forget that you fucking bet
against you. I know.
No, Kayla. Listen to me. Watch my next bet with you. Watch my next pick. I'm all in, Kayla.
I'm watching you.
Awesome. Kayla,
thank you again. Thank you, Kayla.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Great talking,
Kayla.
All right, see ya.
She's awesome. What a great story too.
Great personality.
Yeah.
And she's the man. What I was so.
She's a great personality, but not when you're on the floor up against the cage and she is raining down punches. I wanted to ask her, and I forgot the punch differential in that first round. I mean, she was so dominant in that first round, and the second round too. But I mean, just when they gave one stat during the fight, I just don't remember what it is. It's like 50-0 punches. Like she was really, really good, significant strikes.
Jimmy,
yes, sir.
She just left. So right now, I think we're alone now. The beating of your heart is the only.
Shay Durena is in the waiting room.
I think we're alone now.
No, unfortunately, we're not. Let's bring Shay in.
Jimmy,
I told he trains, but I never know.
What? I'm starting a YouTube channel.
Are you?
Yes.
Good. Why not? You should.
What?
Why not?
All right. You did it. I learned from watching you. Oh, here's Jay. Here's Jay.
Hey, Shay.
How's it
How you
going,
doing?
guys?
Good.
Good.
I love the professional sounding audio. That sounds great.
Yeah. You need the good stuff. You need the good mic. You need the good, like, everything. Everything's got to be cooking.
Do you do a podcast?
I do. I think we're kind of sunsetting. It's more streaming. Streaming is my big thing. Doing a lot of the Twitch and stuff like that.
What do you stream? Like, is it games or do you just talk and hang out?
Games. I'm games. I'm the whole point for me is to get paid to play video games. That's like the motivation. Right. I'm like, that sounds sick.
That's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was looking. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Wait, you are getting paid to play video games? Do you do that?
Yeah, it's not the main source, like touring and stand up. That's like all the main thing. So we're trying to grow the gaming stuff to be able to compete with the rest of the stuff we're doing.
You know, let me tell you, I could relate so much to that. I was just telling Jimmy I'm starting a YouTube thing, and part of it is going to be them watching me play Contractors Showdown in VR, where they'll see what I'm seeing. And then they'll see me
just fucking lighten it up.
Yeah. I love it. What do you like? What games do you like?
Oh, dude, I'll play anything. Right now we're doing Elden Ring again because the DLC is coming out for Elden Ring soon. And then what were we doing? We're doing Helldivers. That was big. I'm pumped for the college football game coming out too. It's like the first time there's been a college football game in like, I don't know, it's like 10 years or something like that.
What games are you not good at? Oh, sorry. What are you not good at anything?
Oh, I'm ass at most games. I'm pretty ass at everything, dude. I'm pretty ass. But I love games. Like I've been entrenched in video games since I was like a little kid. And so it's a big part of my like enjoyment, my psyche, I know so much about the culture and the stuff. In terms of the shooters, I like stuff that it has a lower time to kill. So something like a Call of Duty is a little too quick. Like you get hit and you're dead. Counter-Strike, I don't have that quick twitch reaction for stuff. I was big into Overwatch. Halo was like huge. Like Halo 3 absorbed my life when I was a kid. And then there's this new one that just came out, X Defiant, that people are jumping on that I think I want to check out.
So you don't get married to a video game. Like if you love something, you actually like a new game to come and like kind of not know what you're doing and just try it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll jump into new things all the time. I've never been one of those people that is like, I'm playing, like some people play League of Legends like every day, all the time, constantly. I've never been like, I have one game and I just play it endlessly. Anytime I start doing something like that, it starts to take over too much of my life. And then I'm like thinking about it constantly and I'm like canceling shows to like keep building my world in this thing. And so that gets too consuming for me.
When people are watching, they're watching streamers or the people playing the video games, it's not always the people that are best at the games, correct? Like you can
No. A big appeal of it is just the personalities. It's the live aspect of it is really the hook. It's being in the room with the person at the time and can like this real time connection to them. That's what I think separates streaming from a lot of other forms of media.
And you started, did you start doing stand-up in Mexico?
I did.
And you obviously speak Spanish because you were living down there, right?
My Spanish is ass. Like I was living in a very touristy area, so I got by with speaking English a lot. I had like conversational stuff, like I could order at restaurants and like get directions in a cab, like tell them where I'm going. But that is where I started. I started in like, I want to say it was like 2012, maybe 2013. I started doing stand-up and it was like just for tourists, and we do it like once a week at this one bar, and then I really started liking it. So then I moved to Toronto and like hustled in Toronto really hard in their comedy scene. And then I moved to New York. Like, oh, it's coming up on 2 years soon.
Are you in New York?
Yeah, I'm New York based.
Oh, okay. Cause I saw your website. I was looking at your tour dates, and I see you're doing, I think Canada. I could be wrong, but then you're doing Tokyo, like a week or two after, like a one-nighter in Tokyo, which I think is pretty awesome. I've always wanted to go. So will you just book a place that you want? You'll do the gig and then just kind of hang out for a week or two?
So Tokyo was just a plan I just wanted to go to Japan. And then from knowing I'm going to go to Japan, I posted something on my story being like, hey, does anyone know of a comedy club there? Because anytime you go to a new place, doing shows is one of the greatest ways to meet people, because comics are the same everywhere you go.
Yep.
And that gives you a door open to people who live there, and you can build this connection with them. And then I'll be like, hey, what do you guys do for fun in the city? And then they'll show me around and show me all the stuff they do. So that was my plan of booking the show. And then it went from me doing a spot to them being like, oh, do you want to headline a night at the show? And I was like, yeah, or at our club. I was like, yeah, for sure. It's a little 60-seater in Tokyo. And I'm like, I probably got zero draw in Tokyo, but I'm so excited to do a show out there.
You have a unique, your social media, your Instagram. Where does this come from? What made you start? These clips you have are pretty unique.
Yeah,
They're out of the norm, where people do funny stuff all the time. But the way you put these clips together on your Instagram is kind of hard to describe. But what made you even? You have to really see it to understand what I'm talking about for the people listening. What made you? How'd you start thinking of this?
So it was all just I started to get when COVID happened. COVID happened. We couldn't do stand up. I was in Toronto for COVID, which was like the strictest lockdowns in Canada.
Yes.
So we couldn't do anything. And so I had to take this energy and kind of push it somewhere else. And I had a buddy who was making little TikToks and getting like 3,000 views, 5,000 views. And it just kind of dawned on me like how many live shows I would have to do to get in front of that many people, even when that's not seen as like a great reach in terms of social media. I was like, that's still so many more people. So I just started cranking out content. And at this time, that's when like duets and stitches were like becoming really big on TikTok. And I just kind of ran with that platform of doing this like reaction type content and just started to grow it more and more and more. And just based on my sense of humor, everything sort of leaned to like the sexual side. And my philosophy on not just like creative products, but anything you do is like, I'm always like focused on your strengths. Like if we're talking like UFC, like if you're a really good striker, you're going to want to work on your ground game and your other stuff, but you're not going to lean away from being this like knockout power puncher. You're going to want that to be the backbone of a lot of stuff you do. So I was like, just lean more into the sexual content that I'm making, because stuff like this. This is perfect.
One jujitsu, please. Yeah, I'll take the full year. Yeah.
That's funny.
She was doing a bit of a north-south.
Yeah, a bit of a north-south for sure.
That's pretty much. I'll take a year membership. That's great.
Do you train?
I started doing Muay Thai for a bit, but because of just like moving around and constantly in different places all the time, I fell out of it. I boxed when I was a kid for like 5 or 6 years. And I competed. I had some amateur fights. I was 10-2 with my final record. So I was in it a bit. But I just love mixed martial arts and MMA and everything. Like when I was younger was like the peak of like pride fighting, and when the UFC was like really taken off with like the Chuck Liddell era and stuff. And I just was obsessed with it. I mean, I still am.
Let me ask you now, because I like to ask comedians that could fight this question. You're in a situation, let's say you would a lady friend, and somebody comes up to you, a little bit of a wise ass. Do you use your skill as a stand-up comedian and you de-escalate with some comedy, or do you get into kick-ass martial arts mode? What route do you take?
I think I always go de-escalation. You always go de-escalation first.
Jimmy, you see?
Yeah.
Jimmy just started training. Sometimes he puts his little chest out. Jimmy, listen to it.
Well, you know.
Go ahead.
like you want to, like, yeah, there's a fantasy in your head about like some guy coming up, you're in front of your girlfriend, you beat up this dude, you look like a hot shot. But
Yeah.
I have a buddy who's like, he trained a ton and he does all this different stuff, and he's well versed in just like uh, what could happen if something goes wrong, like being approached. He does like that kind of training as well. I guess like the real world type stuff. And he's like, your first course of action should always be walk away. Always walk away every time you're in any situation, because you don't know, the guy's got a knife on him, he's got a gun on him, he's got whatever. And then even if you're more skilled than this guy, or he's got a buddy waiting around the corner, like anything can go wrong. So yeah, always de-escalation first. And if you can make it funny and like kind of quippy and like and make yourself look cool in the same moment, that's even better.
Yeah, because I saw a video of a guy get like a security guard was wrestling with someone that had stolen something, and you could tell the guard had trained, and I usually going for a guillotine or whatever, and the guy shot him, like because the guy was getting his ass kicked, so he just shot this guy, like he was able to get to his gun and shoot him. So yeah, that's really scary in real life. Like you forget, like they're not playing by jujitsu rules. Like if they have a bottle, they'll break it across your face, or you know. Yeah. So you're probably better off walking away if you can.
And you guys have seen that Joe Schilling video, right? That where he knocks that dude out in like just some bar somewhere.
Oh yeah. He walks by, the guy bumps into him or something.
Yeah, that every time I see that video, I'm like, what was that guy thinking? Like he kind of like I guess he's like kind of in his moment, and he's backing up and he bumps into Joe Schilling, and Joe doesn't like shove him. He just kind of like guides him to the side and then walks by, and the guy clearly like goes like, yo, who the fuck are you, or something. He says something to the dude, and Joe turns around and you see Joe Schilling, he's like a foot taller than the dude. Yeah. That's like an exact moment where that could have all been avoided if that dude's ego didn't flare up in that moment. Yeah. So yeah, always de-escalate, and I'm not super skilled in any means to be pulling stuff off.
Yeah, I had mixed feelings about that video too, because it was almost like, did you have to punch him? Because you're putting yourself at great legal risk if you do that.
For sure.
If you're a trained fighter, I mean, you know, you're not going to eat your ass kicked by that guy was just every asshole in a bar. The guy, he was dancing with a tie. He was fucking hateable. Yeah. But yeah, both of those guys. And then like you said, the other guy said, what are you thinking fucking with this guy as he's walking by? Read the room a little bit better, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Who are your guys like top guys to watch right now in the or just in mixed martial arts in general?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of biased. I have some guys that I'm close to that are in there, whether it's Aljo, Marab, fighters that I'm really tight with. So obviously those are my favorite. But I mean, we just Kayla Harrison on. I'm a huge fan of hers now.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's so many. That's what I love. I mean, this is all I watch is mixed martial arts. So I mean, there's so many different fighters with different skill sets and even the personalities. I'm a fan of just the whole thing. Why, is anybody in particular that you enjoy watching?
Khalil Roundtree is the guy who I'm dude, Khalil, like how he left and went to Thailand and came back like this vicious Thai boxer. And he's just like, everything about him, he's got very like Yoel Romero vibes to him. Like just this dude who's a monster physically and is so well trained. And just scary. Like he's fighting Jamal Hill soon, I think.
He beat out TKO'd Anthony Smith.
Unfortunately, I believe that fight got canceled.
Oh, did it?
I might be wrong, but yeah, I believe it's true. Fight was just called off. Our producer's saying.
Which do we know why?
It's something with Khalil.
Oh, maybe an injury. Okay.
Okay, because I thought it was a fast fight for Jamal to take after he just lost to Pereira via knockout or TKO. So I was like, it seemed like too quick of a turnover, but yeah, Khalil's the guy who I'm really watching, who I'm like, just seems vicious. And with Pereira in that division now too, he's another vicious dude who's like, it makes it so exciting.
Carlos Ulberg, another guy to watch. I mean, he's a devastating puncher. And by the way, for Khalil, it was a suspension due to a tainted. But it's only a couple. It got reduced to 2 months. It was a tainted supplement. I'm guessing they're figuring that he didn't do anything purposefully.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really hard for fighters if a supplement is tainted. I don't know what you're supposed to do.
The wrong creatine.
What's that?
Yeah, he might have took the wrong creatine.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, but there are so many fucking guys. It's crazy. Like, it's really hard to keep up no matter how much. And I watch every weekend. It's very hard to keep up because there's always somebody, oh man, this guy is great. And UFC is so good at promoting guys because they have undercards, they have the prelims, they have all of these fights once a week televised. You get very attached to people very quickly.
Yeah. And with all that other, like, I never tune in too much for the fights, but I follow one on what's it called, on Instagram, and seeing kind of what's kicking off overseas and stuff too. They got some wild stuff going on over there. I follow like everybody. I even follow like street beefs and stuff like that.
You just like fighting. You like watching
just like fighting, dude. I've said this before. I'll watch a dog fight a chicken. Like, I don't care, man. I'm just down to see a scrap. Yeah.
It is crazy how many clips, like there are accounts just dedicated to guys getting their ass kicked, and there really is nothing more satisfying. Like, there was a video, did you see that video recently of that bully choking out that kid? And the kid goes, "You'll stop if I ask you to stop, right?" And this guy chokes him and he lays him down, but then the kid like hits his face in the dirt. And even like, who's the guy that was going back and forth with Jake Paul? Dennis, what's his name?
Oh, I know the jiu-jitsu guy.
Yes, yeah, he's a really good jiu-jitsu guy.
What's his name?
Dylan
Dennis, sorry. But he even tweeted, he's like, "Hey, if anybody knows who this kid is, I'll pay for his jiu-jitsu." Like the kid who got bullied. It really hit people wrong.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I didn't see this one.
The kid let the kid choke him. And the kid was just a fucking asshole and held it too long. Like, he was just bullying him, and he let him fall and hit his face. It's kind of a depressing video. You know.
Every kid should know jiu-jitsu, should learn jiu-jitsu. That's it. I just put a thing on my Instagram with Dana White talking brilliantly about jiu-jitsu.
Yes, I saw that.
With Sebastian Mancow, whatever his name is.
Sebastian Maniscalco and Pete Correale, yeah.
Dana talked about it like he spoke about jiu-jitsu. You know, I was very impressed with the way Dana summed it up, because they were asking, what should we get a kid in? Is it soccer, martial arts?
Right.
He was explaining, you get your kid into jiu-jitsu and it will never leave them. These other sports, you play soccer, they'll teach you some teamwork, and you take it to a certain point. You know, jiu-jitsu will never leave you. You will always have it. Yeah. So I have 3 daughters. They're all training. You know, do you have any kids or no?
No kids. No. I mean, like, maybe in the future. Right now, it's like, it's not in the cards, especially like I got a little tiny 1-bedroom place in New York City. Like, there's nowhere to put these kids if I was to have them.
Yeah. What room are you in right now? That's a very narrow room you're in right there. Or maybe it's just the camera.
This is like the hallway. So the way my kind of setup is, it's like I need the natural light coming in. So this is the best spot where I just get the hallway shot behind me. But my sister has 3 kids, and I know that at least 2 of them are in jiu-jitsu. A lot of kids are in jiu-jitsu now. And yeah, because it is like, anytime you learn martial arts, it's a very applicable skill. Like, you hopefully won't have to use it, but it is something that will stick with you if you do have to use it. And it's also exercising at the same time you're learning. It's like, it's like if you're lifting weights, of course there's a science and a perfection to like weight training and stuff like that. But this is like I said, it's you're learning a skill that you could potentially use to help yourself in the future as you're being physically active. It's like a 2-for-1.
100%. You get in shape and you become more dangerous at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I wound up, I've been taking it for about a year, and I'm the only guy who's ever gotten fatter taking jiu-jitsu, but it's because I can't stop eating. I just can't fucking stop eating. My wife brings home shit food, and I just keep eating it. But I do love it, and you sweat, and it's like no other workout I've ever done. Like, I've never been more tired after something than I am after jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I had a buddy who competed for the first time recently, and he said it was like insane, because he's like, there's one thing to rolling when you're in the gym and you're training, but then when you're competing, he's like, this guy's trying to kill you. Like, he's trying, like, and full tilt. I think he did 1 or 2 matches on the day, and there was like a third one, and he's like, I can't, I physically, my body's got nothing left in it. So I think the place I was going before was incredible. They were really focused on good technique and stuff with the Muay Thai, and they had jiu-jitsu as well. You got like a 2-for-1 and everything. I've just canceled my subscription twice now, and I feel like almost embarrassed going back.
Go back.
Hey, yeah, that's true. I should just get back in there. The summer's like a good lull for comedy. So I think maybe that'll be the time I can be like, okay, let's swing and get back into the swing of things.
Hey man, as a school owner, I love people come back. I never give them shit. Where you been? Life catches up. And I tell them, look, I'm just happy you're back. We'll always be.
Yeah.
They always come back. They get addicted.
True. Yeah. And it's so good. It's so good. Like there's learning, I think learning the Muay Thai was it helps. You have this perception of yourself before you go in that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna I know what I'm doing. Like I box one, I got this. And then you get in there, you're like, yo, I suck, dude.
Yeah.
I suck. My groin is so tight. My hips are so tight. I can't get a kick up at all. Like, and then just like all these little mistakes you're making constantly. You have to be very humble with your own perception of yourself and really let your ego go, because you're constantly getting corrected. And if you, for one, you can't be like, no, I'm doing it right and not change, but you also can't let the correction like hurt your morale and be like, oh, I suck at this. You have to be like, oh no, this is part of the process, is constantly being corrected and constantly sort of slowly being shifted in the right direction.
Well, it's better to have them correct you than to have an overhand right clock you. Like, you know what I mean? I'd rather have but you're right. You always I get a lot of, you dropped your left, like I'm always dropping my fucking
yes.
hand.
Yeah.
And that's what you hear probably most from a guy teaching you Muay Thai is you dropped your left, you dropped your right. I throw a punch and then my other arm just goes by my side casually.
Yeah. And it is like I feel like it's such a good exercise for your brain, like learning all these, like keeping your hands in position and then like not leaning back while you're throwing a kick, and like bringing your kick up with your like oblique, and like all these different pieces of your body working simultaneously that you're focusing on. That it's so good for just like, I think, brain health.
Yeah, I think so too. And Kayla Harrison was just on, and she said something that was talking about how like you're very hyper focused, I guess, when you're doing MMA, and when you're training, it's all you can think of. I don't think about my wife. I don't think about problems at work. I think about nothing but this guy trying to choke me, or am I doing this right, or why am I doing this wrong? It's 1 second in front of you is all you're thinking of.
Exactly. It is. You have to be very present, very, very present. And I catch myself sometimes when like whoever's running the class will be like, okay, we're going to work on this combo. And I've caught myself a couple times like, okay, are you guys ready? And then I'm like, oh no, I wasn't paying attention at all. I have no idea what the combo is. And then, so just to be constantly focusing on being present, to never let your mind sort of drift away, because every moment you need to be in it.
Well, Shay, look, let's promote properly. You're a really interesting guy, man, and I love what you're doing. And I love that you're going to Tokyo for that. I just think that's so great. Yeah. And it's Durena is Durena.
Yes.
Shay is CHE for anyone that doesn't spell that.
Yeah.
And it's the same on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Yeah. So if you want to follow Shay, check him out on all of those. And is it shaydurena.com? Is that your website?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and you can see all these dates because you're not just going to Tokyo. You're also here in New York and Williamsburg. You're going down to Miami. You got La Jolla out in California, and of course Tempe, the Tempe Improv, which is a great room at the end of September. So thanks for coming on, man. It was really good talking to you. Really interesting person.
I appreciate you guys having me on. This is great, man. I love this. Yeah, anytime you guys want to do it, I'm down to come through.
Sure, we'd love to talk to you again.
Awesome. You guys have a good one.
All right, have a safe trip, right? Be good.
Bye.
Fun, man. I like his Instagram. It's really
yeah. He's a very interesting guy. He's a great radio voice too.
Yeah, like me.
Well,
Jimmy, I had fun with you.
I can't believe I forgot Dylan Dennis's name.
Yeah, get your shit together.
I just forget it. My memory's going.
Jimmy, I can't stay mad at you. What do you want to promote?
Tonight, 7 p.m. Fat Black Pussycat, 7 p.m. And then the 7th of June, I'm going to be in Idaho for the first time. The 8th of June, I will be in Portland, Oregon. So come see me in one of those places. And tonight, Fat Black Pussycat, 7 p.m. Matt?
June 2nd, I'll be here and I'll be 50, Jimmy.
Oh, happy birthday, almost.
That's weird, Jimmy.
Let me promote Fight Pass. 50, you look great, though. You act like you're 30, or actually you act like you're 15. You're built like you're 30. You act like a child. You have a great life.
Stop it. Jimmy, you're taking shots at me.
No. You have a great life. WOW 14 Madrid this Saturday. If you want to support that, really, really great card. This Saturday from Madrid, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Fight Pass. Really nice and early. So if you want to just check it out and see this promotion, support those guys because they just got on Fight Pass and we're very, very happy for them.
Yeah, man. And that Arturo, what a nice guy. We had him on.
Great, yeah. Arturo Guillen, very, very nice dude. And Matt, we'll talk before your birthday.
Jimmy, if you don't call me on my birthday,
I will.
What day is that? June 2nd. What does that land on? What does that fall on?
That I don't know.
Let me go. Let me know. Something's knocking on the door. It's my stomach. It's my.
Oh yeah, you got a log brewing.
What day is June 2nd, producer? What does it fall on?
June 2nd is a Sunday.
Oh, so we're not going to be on together. But
but we'll talk Monday. I'll be happy birthday. You made it.
I'm not against the FaceTime, call.
My FaceTime broke.
That hurt. Jimmy, 50's the big one. Jimmy, I will talk to you by next week or before.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, Jimmy. Bye, everyone.